What's going on, Angelo family? For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Angelo. I'm a UCLA MBA. Got my MBA from the #1 public school in the world, UCLA Anderson, as well as I've been a program manager at companies like Meta, Airbnb, Google, you name it, and I've generated over $1 million in program management this past 2 years, working as a program manager for big tech as well as consulting for businesses. So in today's video, we're going to go over the top exit opportunities for MBAs. For those of you who are curious, MBA stands for Masters in Business Administration. So we have about 5 or so exit opportunities I do want to go over for those of you who are looking to get your MBA. For me, I got my MBA from UCLA Anderson, which is #1 public school in the world as of right now. So the first kind of exit opportunity you're going to get is in consulting. A lot of my classmates, actually, they would intern at consulting firms like BCG, Bain, McKinsey. And BCG stands for Boston Consulting Group. McKinsey is another top firm within consulting, and they usually hire MBAs to solve complex business problems. And you have the opportunity to work with various industries that solve challenging issues. So you can work with big name clients like Google, Apple, Meta, Alphabet, as well as kind of clients within the just different sectors of business. So you really kind of come in, a company has an issue or problem, they need you guys to help solve that problem. You interview candidates, you interview everyone within the firm, you look at external and internal data, and you make suggestions for the company. This is what is called consulting. A lot of top consulting firms are kind of based all around the United States of America. You'll find them in California, New York, you name it. There are a lot of great consulting firms within California and across the US. And one of the big questions you get is salary. What does salary look like for these firms? So top consulting firms, if you're kind of going into BCG, which is Boston Consulting Group, a Bain, a McKinsey, they usually have you paying after MBA or graduate school about $150,000 to $200,000 per year. And this includes bonuses, so you can get a much higher bonus based on how your performance is. So if you perform well during your job, the client really likes you, you're able to build a lot, and you just do a great job on your overall project, that $150,000 to $200,000 salary will have a bonus on top of that. And if you move up to the ranks to like a senior consultant or even a partner, you can almost skyrocket to about over $1 million annually. And that probably does skyrocket even more depending how high you're within the company. If you're an executive, C-suite, if you're a partner, or you're just relatively high up in a firm, you can be making several millions of dollars as a consultant. So that is one interesting way for you guys to kind of look at the exit opportunity for an MBA graduate. The next we have is finance. So finance is essentially kind of, we're going to look more so like in the hardcore finance role, so like investment banking, private equity, and venture capital. Investment banking, private equity, and venture capital, they're very big within New York. So if you're kind of looking to move to New York, a lot of investment banking firms, as well as venture capital, they're huge within the Silicon Valley, and private equity is pretty big as well. So these positions are very lucrative and they're very intense to work in. I've had several friends pivot to investment banking or pivot to venture capital because they enjoy the high finance, they enjoy the stress, and they enjoy the ability to make a lot of money in the capital markets. So essentially in investment banking, you kind of work for a bulge bracket firm like a Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, or say like Wells Fargo. And essentially your kind of job for investment banking is your goal is to just help raise capital for companies. So if a company was ever to IPO, like a Snapchat, say, or like even a large public company with an IPO where they allow their shares to be purchased in the public market, this is called an initial public offering. By selling their shares in the public market, they're able to generate more money for the company and help and grow the company. So that is kind of what you do in investment banking. Of course, there are a lot of different roles within investment banking. That's one of the kind of avenues you would work on within investment banking. For venture capital, it's really providing money to small startup companies. So if you can imagine Google in its infancy days when it just had 5 to 10 people working for them, your job is to help find those founders, give them money to help grow the company, and you get a portion of equity or portion of the stock within the company before they are public. The goal usually for venture capital is to provide funding to founders and then have them IPO eventually, which is initial public offering, or go through an acquisition where they get purchased by another larger firm or another company. So next we have is private equity. Private equity is kind of buying businesses, making them more lean, run them better. And a lot of this is a very lucrative role where you're kind of within the firm, you basically buy most of the shares within the company, you kind of change up management, help the business run more efficiently, make the company more profitable, and then sell it. So that's kind of what private equity is, so within finance. And these roles are very lucrative. Usually starting salaries range from about $125,000 to $175,000 a year, and you have significant amounts of bonus where it can be even double your salary. A lot of venture capitalists and private equity's total compensation, can be around $250,000 to $300,000 a year. I've seen people get roles of like $500,000, and if you become a partner, you definitely can exceed that $1 million mark at senior levels as well. So these roles are very lucrative. They like to recruit from top business schools, from top universities, or as well as they like to have really pristine internship programs. So if you're in investment banking, venture capital, private equity, they love having interns who they recruit from these top universities, or even universities in general. You do a good job, they give you a return offer. Most likely when it comes to this kind of, cycle for finance, is that most people, they'll go into the sell side, which is investment banking. From the sell side, they'll move to the buy side, which is venture capital. So it's kind of like this whole switch, right? So investment banking is usually the first kind of rung where most people go. Investment banking, and then I go private equity or venture capital, because the work hours are not as crazy as investment banking, as well as it does pay rather well. So take a look into that. There's a lot of great investment banking companies you can get into for your MBA, as well as venture capital, like Andreessen Horowitz, Sequoia. They're big ones here in Silicon Valley and the Bay Area. So next we're going into technology. This is kind of my rung of the ladder. So I got into technology. I worked at companies like Google, as well as Meta and Airbnb, because I love the startup environment, technology environment, being based in the Silicon Valley in California. I enjoyed that. In this tech sector, you're essentially kind of creating products, more so consumer products, or sometimes you're doing B2B products, which is business to business. You're working on software. For me, I worked on technical infrastructure for Alphabet and cloud, where we were building out the technical infrastructure. We were building out the data centers. We were negotiating with large foreign entities to build cloud data centers. So you do have very complex problems you are solving. And then you're just trying to kind of build out these companies. Most of the technology is essentially within California. Of course, like you have like Washington, where you have Amazon, you will have Microsoft, so a lot of great companies there, but most technology companies are within the Silicon Valley Bay Area. And these companies do pay well. You're paying, they do pay well, and honestly, they probably have one of the better work-life balances compared to working in finance, where you're working like 100 hours in finance, but for technology, you're usually working about, say, around like 40 to 60 hours a week, usually on a kind of crazy week. And then most of your compensation is through salary and stock and equity. So for me at Google, a lot of my compensation was my salary. It went up a lot because I had equity vesting at a cheaper stock rate, or stock price went up in value, and then your kind of total compensation does go up a lot. So keep that in mind when you're in technology. I personally think it's one of the better ways to kind of get into the whole kind of technology sector. And after MBA, which was working in tech. So I really enjoyed working in tech. That was probably one of my favorite things to do, was just working in tech, because of the good work-life balance, the ability to work on products that hits a lot of customers, as well as the equity portion of it, where if you have a good company, equity can increase. A lot of people, my friends who are working in NVIDIA, they came here with like nice six-figure salaries, or 100,000, 200,000, but then after NVIDIA's stock price had exploded, they're making over a couple million just to their stock, which is insane to think. So take a look at technology. A lot of these roles in technology are kind of strategy, business operations, product management. Sundar Pichai was actually a product manager who got an MBA. He had an engineering background, but then went about the MBA route and then became CEO of Google. So take a look at that. A lot of great exit opportunities within strategy, operations, product management, program management, technical program management within the MBA sector for those of you who are in technology. Next we have is entrepreneurship. A lot of my classmates, actually, they decided to become founders. Founders is basically you're founding a company. So they became founders after MBA school, after graduating from UCLA, because they wanted to find a company. They had a very pain point problem that was bothering them a ton, and they wanted to solve that issue. So when they wanted to solve that issue, they're thinking, okay, there's no solution in the market right now for me. Maybe if I create a company, we can solve that issue. We can create value for the world. We can make a lot of money doing that. So I have about, I think around 10 to 15% of my classmates after graduation from UCLA becoming first-time founders, raising money from venture capitalists, putting their own money, raising money from friends and family, and then starting their own company. So that's one avenue you can look at as well. Keep in mind, most startups do fail. So you need to be confident, you need to be sure of yourself that, hey, if this fails, I will get back up, I will do it again. If this fails, I will raise more money, figure everything out, learn from mistakes, and do post-mortem and keep growing. So keep that in mind. The great thing about entrepreneurship, which we're also doing on this YouTube channel, is that it gives you an unlimited upside potential to really kind of create and build something for the world that you are truly passionate about, as well as have an unlimited income ceiling, because you're not limited to however you're going to get paid. So entrepreneurship is great. We do need more entrepreneurs in this world to solve amazing problems, to help the world become better. So look into that. A lot of business people get into entrepreneurship. If you are trying to find a tech company as a MBA and you're not technical, find great engineers to be co-founders with you, or you can handle the business, you can handle sales while your engineer builds an amazing product. So take a look into entrepreneurship if you really want an unlimited ceiling to help build an amazing company. And then last but not least, we have corporate roles. So corporate roles are essentially just kind of working at your 9-to-5 companies, like your Fortune 500 companies, your like a AAA insurance, or like your local kind of big company with wherever you're living. And these roles kind of include like healthcare, consumer goods, manufacturing, general management, operations, and marketing. A lot of C-suite executives do come from the corporate role life, and they do have the MBAs or Masters of Business Administration, so they can get those high-level corporate jobs as directors, executives, CFOs, CEOs. And a lot of them can earn about $300,000 to $500,000 annually, plus bonus and stock options. Most CEOs I've seen, like within the Valley or just kind of in higher up, they'll get around like $500,000 to $1 million in salary, but most of their compensation does come from equity. Equity is essentially the stock in the company, and the reason it is coming from equity is because equity, when it goes up in value, that means the company has gone up in value, and that is tied to your performance. So whenever a company's stock goes up, it means the CEO is usually doing a good job, and then they're getting paid more money because you have most of your compensation, your money tied to the price of the equity, which means the price of the stock. And then this is really good for the shareholders because they want their CEOs, their board members, for their company to have their performance tied to stock price. Because when the stock price goes up, everyone makes more money, you're maximizing shareholder value, and then everyone gets paid more, CEO does well, keep them on, and you're more likely to kind of keep your role as a CEO, as CFO, or executive. So look into those corporate roles. A lot of great companies out in the world hire MBA, Master of Business Administration graduates. So that's kind of one of the other extra opportunities that we have for MBA graduates. For those of you curious, my name is Angelo Carlos, UCLA MBA. I've made over $1 million these past 2 years working in program management for big tech companies as well as consulting. So have a pretty good background, as well as I got my MBA from UCLA Anderson, the #1 public school in the world. So Angelo family, I have some opportunities for you to sync with me down below about just whether or not you want to consult, learn about MBAs. Take a look at my links down below. You can book time with me, talk with me, as well as I do have some courses on business, program management, and MBAs down below. So take a look at those links. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys are enjoying the content from this program management MBA channel called Angelo Carlos. And please leave a comment. We'd love to hear your ideas on this. A lot of great, amazing business exit opportunities for those who are in the MBA program, Master of Business Administration. Appreciate you, Angelo fam. Please like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.